Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Clare, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So today, avoiding overwhelm in life and business, and I have a wry smile on my face because actually I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed this morning. And it's only when I sat down to do this that I suddenly realised that that's what's going on. So we're travelling. We're going to be travelling in our motorhome. And I don't know what it is with me and travel. It's travel in the motorhome. It's travel like on a plane. Haven't done that for a while, but you know, the build up to going away. Like I woke up at silly o'clock this morning. And I read for a long time before. I'm reading a really good book by Millie Johnson. Highly recommend Millie Johnson, by the way. But I was reading the book for ages it's a really good book. Maybe I shouldn't have been reading it before I fell back to sleep. And yeah, this morning I feel just a bit. I call it feel a bit fizzy. I feel a bit fizzy, and I feel like there's a lot to do. Because we're taking my daughter back to university in Wales, and she only told us the other day that she needs to be back at a certain time. We thought we just had all day to kind of wind our way across to Wales from Leeds, and apparently we don't. We just found out. So we've suddenly everything's changed, and I've had to move a meeting, and anyway, we're going to make it in time. But I can feel this sense of, you know, when I finish this session, recording this, I've got to go and finish getting ready and pack my things. And what I'm realizing is this jittery feeling and this feeling of overwhelm, this feeling, oh, there's a lot to do, is really a beautiful signal coming from my body. It isn't letting me know that I have more things than I can cope with. It isn't letting me know that I'm not going to be ready in time. There's no that sense of the feeling and the thoughts that are going with it. None of that's true. What is true is that my mind is all over the place. So my mind is thinking right now. I'm being present with you right now, but just before I came on the call, I was putting vitamins into a box ready to go. I was, you know, I'm thinking, oh, I haven't packed any clothes yet. I've got to go and get the clothes sorted. You know, there's things that are in my head, and I think this is the thing about overwhelm in life and in business is that, well, we are never really overwhelmed. Like in a physical sense, we're not overwhelmed. We never are physically overwhelmed, or very rarely, perhaps. However, because we think about all the things we have to do, that creates a feeling of overwhelm. Because it isn't the feeling, that feeling I've got this morning, which is just a bit of tightness in my chest and just a jittery feeling like, oh, I've got so much to do. That isn't telling me that there's something really wrong in the world. It's just telling me that at the moment I'm thinking about too many things at once. Or, well, I'm not thinking about too many things at once, but there's no proper pause between my thoughts. They're comma thoughts, I like to call them. Rudy Kennard, my teacher, one of my teachers, taught me that, you know, when we're calm, our thoughts are just, they're full stops, big full stops, pauses, you know, like musical note type pauses. My daughter's boyfriend could probably tell me what you call that, but, you know, long pauses between the thoughts, whereas at the moment my thoughts of what I've got to do and how I've got to be ready and and then we're on a bit of a time constraint because we've got to have my daughter back in Wales for whatever time. That is filling up my system, and my body is reacting to that because the thoughts and the feelings, two sides of the same coin. We're experiencing life, and how we feel about life through our relationship with it, and that relationship comes from what we've learned about life and our conditioning that's happened over many, many years. We don't really need to get too much into that analysis because I think Freud tried it for a long time. I'm not sure he came up with any real conclusions about things that happen in your childhood and what they really mean about you as an adult. But we can know that in the moment, this feeling of overwhelm is coming from having too much going on in our heads. Now, what it might look then, when I've entitled this avoiding overwhelm in life and business, maybe avoiding isn't the best word. I guess it's awareness again, really. So when I noticed earlier on, I was in the bedroom when I said to Bruce, I feel a bit jittery this morning, and he said, why? And I said, well, I think just because I'm just thinking about all the things we've got to do this morning, and I am just a bit like this when travel is involved. Now, if I thought that feeling was telling me I needed to go faster, do more, do it quicker, then I probably would have been tripping over myself this morning, trying to get stuff done. But actually, after I said that, I just stood for a moment and just was with that feeling. And I took a breath and I felt my feet on the floor and I checked the time and I realised that I hadn't scheduled this session yet. So I just did that bit of thing I needed to do and then finished getting dressed. And then I came, and now I'm doing this. And I know after I've done this, I need to go and practically do some things, but I only have to really do one thing at a time. And this is what I'm saying about how we're not physically overwhelmed. Like right now, all I have to do is sit here and do this. That's it. And then when I finish doing this, when I finish, I will do the bits of tech that I do after I've done this, and then I will go and finish packing my things, one item at a time. There's no, I've got lots to do, I've got lots to pack, it's actually just one thing at a time. And the issue is not that we have things to do or lots of things to do. It's that we think we've got to do them all at the same time, or our thinking is going through the list at a rapid pace. As I say, it's thought, comma, thought, comma, thought, comma. Maybe there isn't even a comma in our thinking when we're feeling that speed. You're feeling that speed in your body. There's a piece of my constant calm course where I really talk about this awareness of the speed of your thinking. I know this morning that I'm running at a few too many revs per minute in my head. I'm maybe not quite 200 miles an hour, but I'm running at 100 miles an hour. And if you think about it, when your thinking is fast, when you're driving fast, it's a bit dangerous, isn't it? It's dangerous. You're less likely to avoid an accident. You really have to concentrate very hard, and it's quite stressful because you're quite tense trying to control the vehicle when you're going really fast. It's the same with your head, really. Now, what is helpful? The most helpful thing in the world, actually, for everything, for me, is awareness. Like this morning, I noticed that feeling and went, oh, that feeling's letting me know that I'm a bit sped up today. And interestingly, since saying that, I'm going in and out of it a bit, but it's less prominent just because I've spotted it. And so there isn't anything to do when I talk about avoiding overwhelm in life and business. It doesn't mean there's anything to do other than maybe breathing. I just noticed then I've got a little bit of tightness in my chest and I'm speaking quite fast and I haven't breathed properly for a little while. But as I notice that, it dissolves without me needing to do anything. And that, like, I feel quite emotional now because there's this passion in me for everybody to see this, because it is so life-changing to realise that feeling of anxiety, the one I have this morning, that's coming from this feeling of overwhelm, anxiety and overwhelm, I think pretty much, best mates, hold hands with each other, that it isn't that feeling that's the problem. It's that people think that feeling is a problem. And I see this all the time with the people who I work with that think that they're not supposed to feel these feelings and that these feelings are a problem. We have an entire society now built on the premise that these feelings are a problem to be solved, and that the people who have these issues are a problem to be solved. And it's not that way at all. Like, just by noticing that I was overwhelmed and jittery this morning, I became less overwhelmed and jittery. And the tears aren't that. The tears are my not desperation, that's a bit too much, but my keenness for you to see this. Especially if right now life seems to be full of overwhelm and stress and anxiety, that is impacting on your life and your business. And it's beginning to look like this is something that's wrong with you. That's just sad to me now. And when I just said that before about just knowing that it's okay to feel this way, that it's okay to feel jittery, it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It just means that in this moment you are caught up in some fast thinking, you're sped up internally. And your body's just letting you know that. And when you realize that, like for me this morning, and this is my doing, I don't teach doing, I don't teach you what to do, but for me this morning, it made sense to just to feel my feet on the floor and take a breath, which is something I probably learned through meditation and mindfulness and those kind of things. But that made sense. That's what popped into my head to do. When you realize that it's not out there, and the solution to it isn't out there, and the solution to it is not because, the solution to it is not, well, there's something wrong with me, so I'm going to have to kind of fight this for the rest of my life kind of thing, which I hear too many people saying now, that then it makes sense just to look after yourself in the best way that you know to be true for you. That might be taking yourself out of the situation temporarily. It might be taking a breath. It might be distracting yourself, which is fine. Because your system is desperately always trying to get you back to equilibrium. That is your innate well-being. It is how it works. And that's amazing to see. So I've gone on quite long this morning, which is fine. But ironic, bearing in mind I need to go pack. So thank you so much for being here this morning and listening, if you've been listening live. And if you're not, if you're listening at some other point in the future, that's cool too. Nobody needs to suffer anymore. Wow. Imagine that world. Take care, everyone. Lots of love. And I will see you again soon. Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Clare Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.